Hi there, my name is Julia. I work at CloudOps in product marketing, and Archie and I run the Kubernetes and Cloud Native meetups throughout Canada. So we are here today to have a chat with some people who are presenting at our meetups, and I'll let Archie introduce himself before we get started.
Hello, my name is Archie. I'm CNCF ambassador, and as Julia mentioned, we're running Kubernetes meetups in Canada. I'm also working at CloudOps as a solution architect. So yeah, happy to have Daniel here today with us.
Yeah, so Daniel Tomcej works at Containous, and he handles all the DevOps things for that organization. So we're here today to talk about Traefik. And despite the spelling that's somewhat misleading, it's pronounced Traefik.
Yes, it is pronounced Traefik, just like air traffic controller.
Okay, perfect. I really like your logo. So can you tell us a little bit about what Traefik, what problems it solves, and maybe give us some use cases as to why it's relevant?
For sure. Once microservices and microservice-based architectures became popular, routing and load balancing in these kind of dynamic environments becomes a real challenge. When you don't know what is going to be deployed in the future, you don't know the specifics about your environment as it's changing. The classic solutions for routing and load balancing were very configuration-based, very state-based, and we wanted to have something that would react to the environment and would basically automatically configure itself so that you just deploy it and it basically handles everything without having to be updated or touched.
Okay, awesome, interesting. And you guys are part of the CNCF?
Yes.
And the use cases are basically the ingresses?
Yes, so in the Kubernetes environment, the classic use case is an ingress controller, but it can also be used to bolster or be used as a service mesh, since it has auto discovery and can be used to route internal traffic as well.
Okay, great. I mean, we at CloudOps also using Traefik open source version for some of our products. Amazing. Good to have you.
So Archie has a technical question for you.
Yeah, so today talking about Traefik, of course, and you're going to be discussing the topic of end-to-end TLS between microservices, services, I suppose. Can you give us a little bit sneak peek, and maybe, there's this is really a hot topic these days. There seems to be, many announcements, there's Istio that is doing end-to-end. There is console just recently announced end-to-end. There's a lot of things that are kind of similar. What's make Traefik solution unique, maybe, or different, and why we should talk about it today actually.
So the presentation that I'm going to be giving today is going to demonstrate dynamic TLS configuration using Boulder and Mini CA. The concept is that when you are trying to provide TLS in an environment that's completely dynamic, you need to be able to provide certificates to hosts that you don't know whether they exist, using host names that don't exist until they need a certificate, and an IP address to connect to it that, again, also may not exist until the time that you need to connect to it. So using tools like Boulder and Mini CA allows us to dynamically generate those certificates on the fly to make end-to-end encryption completely seamless and automatic.
Interesting. So Boulder is another open source solution?
Yes, Boulder is the project that backs Let's Encrypt. So the beautiful thing about that is that anything that can use Let's Encrypt will automatically work with Boulder.
Interesting.
But you can run Boulder in-house.
So I guess if you want to know more details, we would recommend to join the recordings that we're going to make today.
So Containous and Traefik are obviously very involved, both the organization and the open source. You guys are both heavily involved in the community. Why is participating in that so important for you and also for the organization?
Well, for me, it's important to be able to give back to the community. I think this latest statistic is that 90% of businesses use open source projects in their critical business operations. So with that high a number, not everybody can take. You have to give. The other thing is that when you have a very small, when you have a core group of developers, projects can be very narrow-minded and closed in focus. when you're dealing with an open source community, features that are important to the community become very clear, and it's again, it's many eyes, provide better code. So again, being able to build what people want rather than just what we think the product should have is important. And the other thing about being involved with the community is that we like to be able to interact with the people that use our software. It's not just putting it online and just people are going to do what they're going to do. We actually want to be able to meet the people that use our software and get that feedback.
So you're contributing to the community also by coming to our meetups. How did you hear about our meetups and what we're doing up here in Canada?
Actually, Archie was that was KubeCon EU in Copenhagen. This is how we met up. So
he's convinced you to make the journey.
Well, I'm from Edmonton, so it wasn't as long of a journey, but yeah, it's still made the trek.
Awesome, thanks for coming. And my last question would just be about where else do you give talks, or what other events do you attend, or where can we find you? And
so Containous is quite active. We give talks both at and a lot of EU conferences, DockerCon, KubeCon. We just gave a talk last week in India at I think it was DevCon India. I'm not 100% sure on that one. We also attend the DockerCon in Seattle. It's upcoming. So
we'll see you there.
You betcha. There's a lot of talks going on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you making the effort and for coming to talk about your project.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.